Okay, we're live.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us this evening. I'd like to call the regular City Commission meeting of October 24th, 2023 to order and ask all of you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call. Mayor Pro Tem Jenks.
Present.
Commissioner Elder.
Present.
Commissioner Rozelle.
Present.
Commissioner Olsman.
Present.
Mayor Paul present. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That moves us to a special order of business this evening, recognizing Commissioner Jeff Jenks for his years of service on the Huntington Woods City Commission. I'd like to ask one of our special guests, Regina, to start us off.
Thank you, everyone, and it's an honor to get to start off the festivities. I'm Regina Weiss, State Representative for House District 6, and I have come today as many, and I love that this is like packed house, standing room only for you, Commissioner Jenks, to honor you and for your years of service. And so 1999, I believe, is when you were first elected to this position, and that is a tremendous amount of commitment that you have made for this community. For folks who aren't familiar with local government or haven't worked with local government, there is a lot that goes into it. It's not just showing up at commission meetings, but it's listening to concerns of residents. It's working on things to better your community. It's going to different community meetings. It's participating in other organizations, which you have, Commissioner Jenks, such as SEMCOG and the Michigan Municipal League, and really doing everything that you can to help to improve your local community. As you all know, the pay is not, you don't do it for the pay. I don't know how much you guys make, if you make anything at all, I'm sure. Oh, no, zero?
$1.
You make $1?
$1 a year.
$1 a year.
It's imaginary.
Well, we'll have to make sure. So that's what? So 23 years? Is that right?
24
24 years? So
in 2 weeks.
we'll make sure to get you $24 before you leave for your years of service. But I also wanted to bring with you a special tribute from the state of Michigan, signed on behalf of myself, our state senator, Mallory McMorrow, who was very sad she couldn't be here today. She was on childcare duties, but she also sends her regards, as well as Governor Whitmer and Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist. And we just wanted to make sure that we honored you, that the state of Michigan honored you for your years of service and dedication to Huntington Woods and to Southeast Michigan. So, thank you.
Wow. It's worth paying taxes in this. And you'll notice I have a Michigan tie.
I love it. Yeah, I got the seal and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Now we have our county treasurer, Robert Wittenberg.
Oh, I got a tax bill.
I'm here to collect. That's right. We're taxing you on those $24. By the way, I think it used to be $10. Wasn't it like $10 a month or something? And then it went down.
Commissioner Hasek decided that that was too much money to be paid.
Yeah. So I know you originally got into it for the money, and then over the years, they took that away from you for the $10.
I never saw anything above one.
Yeah. So I'm here kind of wearing two hats. Our county commissioner, Charlie Cavell, was not able to be here, so I have a tribute on behalf of Commissioner Cavell and the Board of Commissioners, also from our office, the county treasurer's office. Obviously, I was serving in that seat before we upgraded and got Regina there. But happy to come here and thank you as a resident of Huntington Woods and as someone who grew up here in Huntington Woods. You know, I've lived the majority of my life in Huntington Woods, and this is a wonderful community, as everyone will attest to, anyone that lives here, anyone that's from here. People rarely leave this community. Once you're here, you're here. And it's a testament to the people that live here, but especially to the leaders of our community. And you have been doing this. It's a very thankless job. At times, there could be some things going on in the community. You know, everyone thinks Huntington Woods is, you know, always very easy, but there's a lot of hard decisions that you all have to make here as the elected representatives here. And you did this never looking for anything in return and always doing it just because you love the community and you care about the community. Additionally, not just Huntington Woods, but the entire region. And that's why you were so active in SEMCOG, Southeastern Michigan Coalitions of Government. Council of Government, okay. I should know that. But obviously, you're someone who likes to partner with other communities and help out, and then also Michigan Municipal League, which is a statewide organization as well. And so your activism, has impacted people around the state. And so I'm not going to read this to you, but wanted to just come personally to thank you, to deliver these to you, and wish you nothing but the best, because you have put so much time and energy into this community. As I said, never looking for anything in return, and just caring about the people that live here. And we're so glad that you did, and we're so glad that we had you for 24 years as a commissioner and years before that on the library board and in other capacities. So I want to wish you and your wife, Lenlen, nothing but the best in retirement, if you will. But I know you're still going to be around, and I know you're still going to have an impact on this community. But wanted to congratulate you and thank you. Sure. We have two. I don't know if we should do two separate pictures here. You hold one, I'll hold. You hold it. That was nice.
We have one more proclamation this evening. Our U.S. rep couldn't make it to our meeting. She's unfortunately stuck in Washington, D.C., so she asked me to read her proclamation for her. So I'll do that. A proclamation by Congresswoman Haley Stevens honoring Mr. Jeffrey Jenks. Whereas on behalf of the Congresswoman Haley Stevens and the 118th Congress of the United States, we honor Mr. Jeffrey Jenks upon his retirement from the Huntington Woods City Commission. And whereas he has been a longtime leader in Oakland County and the Southeast Michigan region, and whereas Mr. Jenks has served the city of Huntington Woods in various roles for more than 30 years. These roles include Library Advisory Board member, City Commissioner, and Mayor Pro Tem. And whereas Mr. Jenks has been an engaged citizen serving his state and local communities in various leadership roles, including as chair of SEMCOG and as president of the Michigan Municipal League. And whereas he is active in the Jewish and Filipino communities in Metro Detroit and was a member of the Peace Corps, where he served in the Philippines from 1962 until 1964. And whereas Mr. Jenks will participate in his final City Commission meeting on Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Therefore, be it resolved that on this day, Mr. Jenks will be honored for his dedication to the city of Huntington Woods, signed by U.S. Rep. Haley Stevens and sealed with the U.S. House of Representatives official seal. Not a self-runner.
Can I stand on the chair?
Okay, I would also like to invite all of you to stay after the meeting. We have some cake and coffee and to continue the celebration. And we're going to try and work through our agenda real quick here. But before I do that, we'll see if Mayor Pro Tem Jenks has a few short words.
I do.
We don't keep people too long.
Now, I'll only read part of this because part of it is recommendations to the city for what it should do. And I've analyzed every department in depth. I will not give that part now. I'm a native Detroiter, 84 years of age. Before I moved to Huntington Woods, I lived in the Cass Corridor for 10 years. So it was a little bit of a shock moving here. I've lived in the woods for 47 years. I was married to Nati Lim Jenks in 1970, and we moved in 1976 to the woods as an interracial couple. Nati died in 2006 of cancer and a heart attack, and a few years later I married Eleanor Lenlen Hubag Madiklam Jenks in 2013, and still continue living in a multiracial home in the woods. I've spent the last 62 years proudly and happily in public service, most of it paid and most of it in race relations. I've also spent my evenings in some form of community service for over 62 years, including my retirement years. I practice the Jewish concept of tikkun olam, making the world whole and a better place to live in. I believe we are the people we've been waiting for. I heard John F. Kennedy, as a candidate for president, first mention the idea of the Peace Corps in Ann Arbor at 2 a.m. in the morning of October 14, 1960. I joined a group while I was still in college that thought it was the stupidest idea in the world, sending young people all over the world. They would screw up every place, and we'd have egg on our face instantly and consistently. Now, even though I felt that way, shortly after graduation, they gave the test, and I thought, oh, God, this is really nice. First time in my life. If I take a test, it won't matter. If I fail, nobody will ever know. Well, they offered me the Peace Corps job, and I instantly grabbed it. I was so thrilled as a smart guy going to the Philippines. I was virtually bilingual, English and Spanish. And as I got into training, they explained to me they stopped speaking Spanish in 1898 when the United States took over. So, I mean, I was very well educated. I taught in a rural elementary school. I taught English, math, and science. I taught in an area where no college graduate woman would want to go because, one, it was rural, two, it was remote, there was no water, there was no in-house, there was an outhouse, there was no electricity, there was no phone, and there was no transportation. As long as I was willing to walk 1.5 miles to 2 miles, I could get to town. I have stayed connected to that community and provide scholarships and things like that for the students there, and have helped with the school. 1964, 1965, I was a substitute teacher in Royal Oak in Detroit, in low-income schools to get student loan funds owed reduced by 10% a year. 66 to 70, I worked at Wayne State, Assistant Director in the Office for Research Administration, which was the grants office. And what I didn't realize was the man that I was working for lived in Huntington Woods in the Royal Oak section. He not only Dr. Bright was not only the head of grants responsibility, but he also happened to be president of something called the Detroit Council of Churches. When the Detroit riots occurred, Dr. Bright and the council did everything they could to be helpful. And I was told daily, okay, these are the projects and places you need to find money. So I had fun working in the university. I then moved over to the College of Ed and was assistant to the dean for a few years. 1970, 1994, I worked at the Michigan Department of Civil Rights as research director and then district executive, first in Muskegon and then in Flint, personally resolving major civil rights issues. The district executive brought groups together, brought models in as to how to make change, and then worked to get that to go through. And most of the time I succeeded. When I worked in Flint, I commuted. When I worked in Muskegon, I commuted. I went up Monday morning, I came back Friday night. When I worked in Flint, I drove back and forth every day. And I did discover something about urban cities, especially our city. It's called location, location, location. If you work downtown and you're coming home at 5 o'clock, it is the trip from hell. If you work in Flint and you're coming home, it's the trip from heaven, because the people going to Detroit are towards Detroit are very few in number. All of a sudden, my last 5 years, something weird happened. I got approached by the Michigan Department of Transportation to be their Metro EEO compliance supervisor for Southeast Michigan. I supervised a team of 5 staff who audited minority and female trainees working on major state and federal construction. I worked a mile from home. I could come home in the last 5 years for lunch. I retired in 1999 when my boss said to me, Jeff, I'm retiring in 5 days. I was very often with groups of lawyers fighting major contractors. And I knew if Mr. Jesse Brown wasn't there, I would be dead in 6 months. So I came home at the age of 59, said to my wife, I'm retiring. Fortunately, the state and all the time that I had worked gave me enough money to survive. When I retired, prior to that, I was covered by the Hatch Act. I couldn't be politically involved. But as of 1999, I could be involved. And at that time, what I did was I ran for the city commission. There was this crazy lady running the library called Shelley Gatch. And Shelley basically did all kinds of really nice, neat things. We put in an elevator. We basically built a reading room with Pewabic tile. And I had fun in that respect. When I got elected, you get elected on Tuesday night, and the following week, you basically take office. And the mayor at that time was a gentleman who was here. His name is Ron Gillum. Sir, would you please stand? Yes, sir. And Ron said to me, Jeff, tomorrow we are going to, there's one chair here. There might be. Ron said to me, Jeff, I want to take you to Ann Arbor tomorrow, and he introduced me to all of the staff of the Michigan Municipal League. And then he said, I want to take you to Lansing and introduce you to our lobbyists. So the first day that I was on the job, the mayor of the city took me and began the training. If there are problems with other organizations, it's all Ron's fault. If I achieve things, it's also Ron's fault because he encouraged and pushed you to do that. I was elected president of the Michigan Municipal League in 2009. I was awarded honorary life membership in 2014. I completed all 4 levels of the Elected Officials Academy in 2018, and I won the Jim Sinclair Exceptional Service Award in 2022. Those basically were steps that helped me learn and accomplish things. I don't believe anyone else from the city has done that. I also was involved with the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments for 30-plus years. My first involvement with them was in the late 70s, but mainly during the 90s. I chaired their data advisory committee before I actually got elected. 4 years after I was elected, the county, cities and villages block for Oakland County elected me to the executive committee, either as the delegate or the alternate, and I served for 21 years there. I was awarded in 2007 the Al Taubman Fellowship to attend Harvard's Kennedy School of Government's Senior Executives in State and Local Government Executive Education Program. And I spent the summer at Harvard with some of the really top people, both challenging and teaching. I chaired SEMCOG in 2015, 2016. Outside of work, I've also volunteered for 61 years in different ways. Anybody that served in the Peace Corps, would you raise your hand? I'm currently president of that group. Anyone that's here from the Michigan Black Caucus of locally elected officials, please raise your hand. I used to be a member, now I can be something else. Lois Richardson is the founder and the former mayor of Ypsilanti, and she is here. Thank you for being here. Anybody that belongs to the Filipino Kiwanis Club, please raise your hand. I'm one of 3 founding members, and 2 of us are in the room. Tony, raise your hand. I'm involved with Voices for Earth Justice. If anyone is here from Voices for Earth Justice, please raise your hand. And in the back is Sister Janet Stankowski. Sister is the founder of the program. It operates in North Brightmoor, the poor section of the city of Detroit. And she created the concept in 2006. I've been on the board since that point of time. Huntington Woods is a small 1.5 square mile city that within less than 10 years will be 100 years old. We forget about that, but it's coming up. Its population and housing stock has been stable at around 6,300 to 6,400 residents since the 1980s, and projections to 2050 suggest the total population and occupied housing stock will remain constant. But in recent years, the number of school-aged children has declined a little as lower birth rates have reduced family size and the number of school-aged children in the city. We have a fully grown housing stock with about 2,300 to 2,400 occupied homes, so no chance of expanding housing stock unless we do it between here and public safety by building a decent building and maybe something going up above it. Seniors 60 plus represent 22.9% of the population of 1,463 residents. School-aged children 5 to 17 represent 18.9% of the Huntington Woods population. Seniors have been growing in numbers, and the school-age population has been declining. SEMCOG reports that 676 of our 2,368 occupied homes, or 28.5%, have seniors 65 plus living in them. 156 of these homes have a single senior living there. This group of residents deserves more services and may have unserved needs. Among the older seniors, there is a higher representation of women. Now, I have about 12 more pages, but I'm being kicked by this tall gentleman on my left.
We're worried it's ice cream cake.
Oh my God, it's gone. Anyway, that's the end. Thank you. There's one group I forgot, the most important one. If you are a senior, raise your hand.
I'm not admitting that.
Chicken. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner, Mayor Pro Tem. All right, communications. We have a couple communications, and one of them is a resignation from our Environmental Sustainability Advisory Committee. Do we have a motion to thank Kate Zenia for her time served?
So moved.
Second.
Accept it? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, elected officials' remarks. Do the elected officials in the room have anything more to that they'd like to add?
They won't be elected very long if they do.
As long as they're not from Huntington Woods, there's no problem.
I can give a very brief update. I know people are eager to get to, I hope that wasn't real, that it was ice cream cake. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Regina Weiss, representing House District 6, which includes all of Huntington Woods. Huntington Woods has the unique, I don't know if you want to say, depending on your perspective, privilege or burden of being the only community that fully sits within House District 6. The rest of the communities in my district are partial. So I have part of Berkeley, part of Oak Park, part of Royal Oak, part of Royal Oak Township, and part of the city of Detroit. And I just wanted to just give a very brief update. There's a lot going on in Lansing right now on the policy side. We're very busy on several pieces of legislation. We may potentially have a truncated timeline before the end of the year. We have 2 members from our Democratic caucus that are running for other offices. And so we're trying to get a lot done between now and November, knowing that there may be a period of time where we may have potentially a 54-54 split in the House before a special election can be called. So there's a lot of legislation moving very quickly. I did want to share really quick, one of the things that I'm very happy that we got out today of the House was a package on guardianship reform, which is a huge issue when it comes to a lot of folks, particularly elderly, but also people who can be incapacitated for any reason and could potentially lose assets, honestly, their personal freedom in some cases. And so we had some very common sense reforms that we pushed through today. We're also working on a few other packages, the Reproductive Health Act to guarantee reproductive health care access in the state. We're hoping to get that done. There's an energy package that we're hoping to get done that will help increase sustainability in the state of Michigan, as well as several other pieces of legislation that we're working on. If there are any concerns that people have on any of the bills that are coming up, or if there are things that you want to see move that haven't moved, or if you just want to share your thoughts, I always encourage folks to reach out. You can reach out to me directly. My email is reginaweiss@house.mi.gov. Our phone number for our office is 517-373-0823. And then we also have ongoing regular community conversations. I don't have the entire schedule in front of me. I know we just sent out in the mail, so hopefully everyone received that. But I did want everyone to know that our next one, we just had one yesterday in Detroit. Our next one is on Friday, November 3rd, from 1 to 2 at the Oak Park Community Center. And I invite folks to come to that. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, if you can't make it to that, you can always reach out to us directly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for the update, and thanks for all your hard work in Lansing. Public participation is next. If anyone has a comment they'd like to make on something that is not on the agenda, please come forward. Seeing none, public participation is closed, and we'll move on to the regular items of business. First one is a matter of consideration to approve the intergovernmental agreement for winter salt. We have a motion to approve the agreement with the city of Berkeley for the provision of rock salt at a rate of $217.92 per 3.25 tons.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
This continues a relationship that we've had for years.
Correct. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2 is a matter of approving city administration to execute the proposal with DA Central for video cameras at the Gillum Recreation Center in the amount of $88,030.63. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Is there any comments from the? All right, public comments or questions from the commission? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good job. Now we've moved on to the city manager's report.
I can be brief. I just want to add one thing. We're meeting again in a few weeks, so I'll just keep it brief. But there was one significant announcement. The city did receive, and thanks to Regina Weiss's office for coordinating with us through Senator McMorrow's office, we did receive an appropriation through the state for $100,000 for a traffic light and pedestrian crossing at 11 Mile. So we're matching that. We got $100,000 from them. We've agreed to match at least up to $100,000 for that cost. So the plan is for that to go in the vicinity of City Hall to help with pedestrian traffic getting across 11 Mile, calming traffic on 11 Mile, also leading backups that occur during the day from the Berkeley side on Mortensen, and also here at Scotia and at City Hall from getting out and turning left. So I think it's something that's long overdue. We look forward to doing that in the next construction season. We had applied for this as part of a grant last year, so we already had a study on this done by TIA. I've shared that with Nowak and Frous and asked them to include that in our 2024 construction plans, which we're also working on right now too for next year. Ethan's done a lot of good work on that. So I think with our road work next year, we'll plan to put this light in. Thanks to the state for making that appropriation, for us, Senator Memorial's office and Representative Weiss's staff are working on us to get the paperwork done on that. So look to be more information on that, but I think it's going to be a welcome addition. There is no, as you know, there is no pedestrian crossing now, as you know, between Woodward and Coolidge. So it's something we've looked for a long time. I look forward to getting that in and having that functional by start of next school year, hopefully. So thanks to the state for that money, and I'll reserve the rest of my. I've been watching too much C-SPAN. I'll reserve the rest of my time. And Jeff, it's been great working with you even before I got here. I do think there's time, if you catch a flight, you can probably get to DC and run for Speaker of the House. There's nobody else seems to be able to take that job, so your work may not be done.
I'm not that crazy. I realize I am classified as crazy, but not at that level.
Fair enough. Thank you, Jeff, for your help.
Oh, okay.
It's been a joy working with you. Thank you.
Any questions from the commission for the city manager? All right, with that, do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Please join us for cake.